The movie begins with John explaining how fragments of the asteroid Clark struck Earth, killing nearly 70% of the world's population and polluting most of the environment. Because of this, the remaining people were forced to live inside bunkers. 5 years later, John is seen searching around the Greenland bunker island while relaying information back to the base bunker. After searching for a while, he finds several abandoned lifeboats and a destroyer ship near the seashore. John quickly enters the destroyer and finds a few necessary tools inside. A few moments later, the base bunker warns him that a huge storm is heading toward his location. If John does not return, he will die. Hearing this, he starts running back toward the bunker, and after running for some time, John narrowly escapes. Meanwhile, inside the bunker, people begin surveying the area and checking the radio for survivors. At the same time, the leaders of the bunker start questioning the food rations and explain that if things continue this way, they may soon run out. Adam explains that if they can stay for a few more months, it might help them grow crops outside the bunker. However, Dr. Amina explains that even though radiation levels are lower, humans cannot survive outside for long. So Allison suggests that they should start migrating out of the bunker. Dr. Amina then explains that there is a crater in the south of France that is protected by surrounding mountains, which would result in less radiation and fewer storms. However, others are reluctant to go there because there may still be war in that region. At the same time, John's therapist explains that 5 years have passed since asteroid Clark hit Earth and killed most of the population. People say they are fine, but deep inside they are still broken, which is why there are more therapists than surgeons. Everyone is carrying trauma, even if they refuse to admit it. John explains that people try to forget the past and stay optimistic because hope is the only way to survive. However, new dangers appear as the Earth's plates begin shifting again, causing tremors in the region, and even though the bunker survived Clark, everyone fears what may come next. Soon, they receive a distress signal from outside, where survivors are hiding in caves and old mine shafts. While some want to help, others worry about food shortages, disease, and radiation, since the bunker cannot support many more people. The hard question is raised about whether they should save them or let them die. After discussion, they decide to put it to a vote, which ends with the group agreeing to send help using a snowcat the next day. At the same time, John repairs damaged systems inside the bunker, restoring water and power. Later, security reports that Nathan was found outside the bunker, even if only for a short time. His parents remind him how dangerous it is because radiation, ash, and limited oxygen make the surface unsafe. Nathan struggles to live underground and finds it difficult to adjust to bunker life. Preparations begin to receive the rescued survivors as decontamination teams are placed on standby and the West Tunnel is opened. However, the rescue team reports that many people were left behind and asks permission to return for them, which leads others to think again about how limited their supplies have become. At the same time, John discovers that the bunkers are cracking. A few moments later, the bunker collapses. John's family and a few others escape to the frozen coast, where they find abandoned lifeboats and leave toward the sea. At the same time, a huge tsunami hits the shore and kills the remaining people left behind. A few moments later, John checks the air quality and believes it is safe enough. He asks about the masks and makes sure everyone is all right. They begin discussing where to go next, but quickly realize there is no home to return to. Iceland is mentioned as the closest option, but they learn it is already gone. They need a clear destination, and John explains that Clark changed the ocean currents, which are now flowing south. With only about a week of food and water left, Europe becomes their best option. Everyone decides to head southeast toward England and hopes to reach London, where John believes they can find Mackenzie. The journey should take less than a week if nothing goes wrong. After adjusting their route, they continue forward, and soon something appears in the distance. At first, no one is sure what they are seeing, but it becomes clear that they have reached Liverpool, England. Knowing they need shelter quickly, they move carefully through the abandoned area and begin searching for food, water, and a safer place to stay. While moving through the city, they discover a government bunker nearby and head there, but military personnel refuse to let them inside and shoot Adam, killing him instantly. They escape and later meet Obi, who moved from Nigeria to England many years ago. He explains that England became his second home, even though he sometimes wonders if he would recognize his old one. They talk about France, and agree it is more dangerous because of what lies there, even though some believe it could be safer in the future. A few moments later, a meteor shower strikes nearby areas. Obi is unable to continue with them, so they are forced to leave. Eventually, they reach Mackenzie, who is shocked to see John after so long and brings them inside. At the same time, she offers them shelter in a sealed part of the hospital where a generator keeps the air filtration system running. She explains that it is not perfect, but safe enough to survive. Meanwhile, Mackenzie explains that most of the people she treats have no idea what happened to their families or fully understand the comet impact. She stayed even after food deliveries stopped and the power failed because she refused to abandon them. At the same time, they share supper together and add more coals so it feels almost normal for a moment. A child sleeps nearby, exhausted, and John admits that he still remembers the impacts and is trying to understand them. Meanwhile, they talk about Clark and the crater outside and whether life could return there one day. Some believe the heat, water, and nutrients from the impact could create new life. John says this place is good enough for now and safer than the outside world. John realizes there is not much time left, and even though Mackenzie has medicine, he knows it cannot change everything. He promises they will stay together as a family. Allison says they cannot stay there because she wants John and Nathan to have a future and believes the crater may offer a fresh beginning. She reminds him that half of Nathan's life has already been about surviving. At the same time, they agree that Nathan must be taken to the crater because there is no future for him where they are. Mackenzie helps them by giving them fuel and clear directions and warns them not to stop for anyone as they head south toward Dover to cross the channel. A few moments later, while traveling by car, they are ambushed and fired upon. John fights back and kills the attackers, but the doctor does not survive the attack. They say their prayers and move on. After traveling further, they reach the area where there used to be a ferry crossing to France, but the sea is gone. They begin driving toward France, but after a few miles, the path ends, leaving only a bridge that must be crossed on foot. After traveling further, they are stopped by Denis, who is holding a weapon. After speaking for a while, he allows them to stay. He introduces his family and explains how they survive using solar power, air purifiers, and a system that keeps the air clean enough to live. At the same time, Denis explains that his wife was harmed by radiation and can no longer speak. Meanwhile, they sit together, share food, and talk about the crater, which many people now call the Promised Land, because they believe it may be humanity's last chance. Meanwhile, Denis warns them that the crater is surrounded by war zones. At the same time, he explains that the Western Alliance is defending it from other groups who want its resources. Only 2 cities remain, and constant fighting makes reaching the crater very difficult. Denis explains that there is a safer route around the fighting through mountain passes. He tells them that when they reach the final checkpoint, they must speak to a commander who can help them move forward. Denis asks John to take his daughter with them, believing she may survive there even if he cannot. Meanwhile, the family continues their journey toward the crater. After traveling for some time, they stop to rest and briefly have a moment of peace. Suddenly, military soldiers arrive. Realizing the danger, the only option is to move through the war zone. They cross it by narrowly escaping death and reach the other side, where they learn the commander is dead. They ask another officer for help, who agrees to assist them. They travel on a bus guarded by soldiers, but they are ambushed, and the soldiers are killed. With no other choice, John fights back and kills the attackers, but he is badly shot. Allison then drives toward the crater as fast as she can. After driving for some time, they reach the location but are unable to continue by vehicle. The only option left is to walk. A few moments later, they reach the crater and discover it is full of fertile land and water. Realizing his family is finally safe, John dies there. Grieving, they say their prayers for John and continue forward toward the crater. And that is how the movie ends. Thanks for watching. If you like the recap, please do like and subscribe for more videos. And don't forget to watch full movie for best experience.